From Colorado State University, this is the Emmy Award-winning Campus Television. Owned and operated by the Colorado State Student Body, Campus Television, covering the news, sports, arts, and entertainment of campus.
Howdy Rams, we're fired up to be back. Joining you on desk this semester, I'm Gideon Aigner.
Excited to be back and ready to go. I'm Lucas Williams, and here's what we got on tap for you tonight.
Colorado State men's basketball puts on a show against the Air Force Falcons with a dominant 81-51 win. The Vols just short in a hard-fought matchup against Utah State.
On the women's side, CSU's women's basketball continues to roll, taking down Grand Canyon 67-50 and following it up with a 68-55 win over Fresno State.
Women's tennis splits the weekend, earning a strong 4-1 victory over Seattle before dropping a tough match 1-4 against Montana State.
And CSU track and field stays busy on the road, competing at the Boulder Invitational.
All that and more right here on CTV Sports, which starts right now.
Over the past week, Colorado State's men's basketball had a busy stretch as Mountain West play continued at Moby Arena. Last Tuesday, the Rams would host the Air Force Falcons at home. CSU came out of the gate strong, leading 38-21 at halftime. The Rams would keep their foot on the gas, winning in dominant fashion, 81-52. Freshman JoJo MacGyver was a strong point for the Rams, recording a career-high 4 steals and tacking on 9 points. Colorado State would shift their focus to Friday night with Utah State coming to town. Utah State was the second seed in the Mountain West coming into the game and was just ranked 23rd in the nation the week prior. Despite being underdogs, CSU was clicking on all cylinders in half number 1, leading 35-25 after 20 minutes of play. A main contributor to the 10-point lead was sophomore forward Kyle Jorgensen, who had 24 points off 8 for 8 shooting in the first half. With 10 minutes left in the game, the Rams were still in control of 51-44, but that's right when Utah State flipped the switch. Utah State would go on a 9-0 run, taking the lead 53-51. It was a back-and-forth contest in the final 5 minutes, but a few costly turnovers from the Rams ultimately cost them the game. In addition, Kyle Jorgensen, who had 24 points in the first half, would be shut out in the second half, not scoring another point. Utah State would go on to win 65-61. Colorado State is now 9th in the Mountain West with a 12-8 overall record and a 3-6 conference record. The team is now in California, preparing to take on San Diego State tomorrow night at 8:30.
CSU women's basketball continued their 4-game win streak last week with W's against Grand Canyon University and Fresno State University. The Rams started off strong against GCU, leading 17-13 at the end of the first quarter before holding the Antelopes to single digits in the second. CSU would go on to win 67-50. Hannah Ronsek, Lexis Bargesser, and Chloe Froby contributed the Lions' share of the points with 14, 13, and 11, respectively. The Rams were able to force 15 turnovers, contrasted heavily with the Lopes only having 9 assists. CSU head coach Ryan Williams said afterwards that, quote, "This is a good victory. Grand Canyon is a good team, won 4 out of the last 5. Obviously, one of the hotter teams in the league right now, so they had our full attention." Then on Friday, the Rams traveled out to California to face the Fresno State Bulldogs. The Rams and Dogs kept it close in the first half with a 23-20 score at the midpoint break, but the CSU roster ate their Wheaties because they broke out with a 28-point third quarter, never looking back after the 9-minute mark in the period. Fourth-year forward Madeline Bragg would lead the Rams in scoring for this one with 18 points. Brooke Carlson would finish second in scoring with 15, and both Ronsek and Froby would corral 11-point, 10-rebound double-doubles. CSU will next be facing off with the conference-leading San Diego State University Aztecs tomorrow, January 28th at Moby Arena at 11 a.m. The time is so early due to Education Day, where students from local elementary and middle schools are bussed in to watch the game.
Over the weekend, Colorado State tennis kicked off their spring season with 2 games at home. On Saturday, CSU would take on the Seattle Redhawks and cruise to a 4-1 victory. In doubles, Colorado State's Layla Tozin and Hannah Haber were able to pick up a win 6-3. Senior Luana Avlar made her first appearance since missing her junior season with injury and would pick up a singles W, winning both games 6-4. Sunday, the Rams looked to expand upon their win the day prior, scoring off against Montana State. CSU opened up strong in doubles with Diana Lazarzo and Layla Tozin, winning their match 6-4, and another doubles win came from Sorcha Caves and Dylan Vokes, winning 6-2. But in singles is where the tide changed for CSU. Montana State appeared to be unstoppable, winning 4 straight single matches, which ultimately helped them pick up the win 4-1. The Rams open up their spring season 1-1, but remain optimistic for what potentials the season holds. Colorado State now shifts their focus to this Friday, where they will travel to Spokane, Washington, and face off against Gonzaga at 12 p.m. and Eastern Washington at 5 p.m.
Rams sprinters showed out Saturday at the Colorado Invite in Boulder, Colorado, as the 4x4 sprint relay team set the Mountain West Conference record. Kenny Carpenter, Emmett Murphy, Travis Turner, and new addition Ashton Whistler set the mark of 3 minutes and 9.1 seconds. Despite this being the first time these athletes ran together, the mark stands as the best in Mountain West history and top 20 nationally. Another standout performance from the Invite came from sprinter Owen Langdon. The freshman finished first overall in the 60-meter hurdles with a time of 7.72 seconds. This time places him second in CSU history behind recent graduate Cole Nordman, who set the record of 7.71 seconds. Ahead, the Rams head to Boulder once again for another Colorado Classic February 6th and 7th.
It's been well over a month since our last show, so that means we have a lot of catching up to do. Over winter break, men's basketball began conference play within the Mountain West. The team would get off to a slow start after losing their first conference game to Utah State, a whopping 100-58. They would catch their second loss in a row to Nevada before bouncing back in the new year, taking down GCU 70-60 on the road. But that wave of momentum would be cut short after losing to the New Mexico Lobos at home 80-70. The Rams would win their next game versus UNLV, then drop their next 2 at Fresno State and at Boise State. Colorado State would finish with a 2-5 conference record over the break.
On the women's side of hoops, things looked much more favorable for the Rams. They would open conference play, rattling off 4 wins in a row over Nevada, Utah State, Grand Canyon, and Fresno State. New Mexico would make the winning streak take a halt after beating the Rams in Moby 66-59. CSU would fall to Boise State the following week before getting back on their feet with a win over Air Force. The Colorado State team would wrap up their winter break stretch with a win over San Jose State 75-60. The Rams would tally up a 6-2 record over the break, putting them third in the Mountain West. And the biggest thing that happened over the break was the transfer portal chaos, which Lucas and I will dive into right now.
Yes, sir, Gideon. The Rams appear to have found their new QB1 in Haas Haney, a 3-star recruit from Oklahoma State. Haney was slated to be the OSU starting quarterback last year, but would only play in 1 game before breaking his foot and missing the remainder of the season. Coincidentally, Haney happens to be from Aledo, Texas. If that sounds familiar, it's because previous Colorado State quarterback Braden Fowler-Nicolosi is also from there. Haney and Fowler-Nicolosi both attended the same high school as well. By far the biggest loss for CSU in the portal was the departure of Owen Long, who transferred to Arizona State. Long was the leading tackler in the nation last year and was a huge part of CSU's identity. Long was listed as a 4-star in the transfer portal and had multiple visits to big-name schools, one of them being national champion Indiana Hoosiers. But Long would ultimately settle on Arizona State.
And one of the players who will be filling the gaping hole in CSU's defense left by Long is going to be University of Connecticut transfer Umar Diamande. The 6'1", 230-pound linebacker tallied 116 tackles, 8 of which for loss, and 5 sacks for the Huskies in the 2025 season. Diamande is following new CSU head coach Jim Mora and hopes to continue the trend of unheralded linebackers joining the Rams, as the Bronx, New York native was unrated by 24/7 Sports coming out of high school. And one of the Rams' main departures comes in the form of left guard Tanner Morley. Standing at 6 feet and 7 inches and 315 pounds, Morley started 14 games for CSU during his career and was a captain for the 2025 season before missing most of the year with injury. Morley will be joining the Kansas State University Wildcats moving forward. And after the break, feature reporter Devin Imsirpasic will be telling us about CSU swim and the celebration of an all-time great Ram.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. It's not often that Colorado State inducts an athlete into the school's Ring of Honor, so when a Ram legend returned to be celebrated, it was important for me to get out there. This past weekend, I had the pleasure of talking with CSU legendary swimmer Amy Van Dyken about her emotions of coming back to Fort Collins and how she wants her legacy to be remembered. CSU Swim and Dive has been historically successful throughout the program's history. However, this past weekend on January 23rd and 24th, the most historic figure in the school's sports history made her return to Fort Collins. Amy Van Dyken is a 6-time Olympic gold medalist who began her run to the top here at CSU and was honored at both the men's basketball matchup and the most recent swim and dive meet, where she was formally inducted into the Colorado State Ring of Honor.
It's absolutely wild. It's so wild. Like, it doesn't even feel like it should happen, right? It doesn't feel like it should be me, but it is, and it's just crazy. This school has gone above and beyond for me, and I'm so grateful. I really appreciate it.
Van Dyken has been a huge inspiration for female swimmers and female athletes around the country, and her messages to those from outside the pool are just as impactful and special to her as her work inside the pool.
Yeah, and that's really hard, right? Especially broadcasting. And it's just one of those things where I've never looked at myself as either a female or a male. It's like, I am this person in this industry, and just because you're a guy doesn't mean you're better than me. And I know I have to work harder, and I'm going to take on that challenge, and I'm going to be the best out there, just like I did in the pool, right? So it's just kind of everything. Even when I park in the parking lot, I got to have the best parking spot.
During her time at CSU, Van Dyken broke a U.S. record at the time in the 50-yard freestyle with a time of 21.77 seconds, winning the 1994 NCAA championship. Having a banner dropped in Van Dyken's honor both at Moby Arena and Moby Pool keeps her solidified as a Ram legend forever.
I just hope that people will remember that I love my school, I love this team, I love everything about it. And yeah, I had a lot of great success, but you know, there's a lot of other women who are in this pool every single day working their booties off, and I hope that I can give them some of that recognition as well, because you know, it's just, I don't know, everyone works so hard, and it's just crazy. I don't even know how to articulate it, man. Like, I'm a broadcaster, I can't talk.
Van Dyken won 4 of her 6 career gold medals strictly at the 1996 Summer Olympics, a record that still has not been beaten to this day. Despite many struggles throughout her career both inside and outside the pool, including growing up with asthma and ADHD, alongside being involved in a 2014 ATV accident leaving her paralyzed from the waist down, Van Dyken lives her life striving to inspire others to never let anyone tell you you can't do it.
It's just wild because I went into 96 and Sports Illustrated said I would win maybe 1 bronze medal. And I walked away making history, but again, don't tell me what I can and can't do. I just think that it's in yourself, and you can't look at anything and say, oh, that's a detriment to me. No, it's a blessing, right? Like, I even look at breaking my back and being in this wheelchair as a blessing, you know, because I'm learning new things about myself, and I just think you can't look at those things as a detriment, because it's part of you, and so you gotta love it.
For CTV Sports, I'm Devin Imsirpasic. Van Dyken is one of the few legendary CSU athletes to have already been inducted into the Ring of Honor, and it is simply an extra achievement added to an already illustrious career of hers. Make sure to hang around because after the break, we will kick it back to Lucas and Gideon with a new segment presenting the Colorado Athlete of the Week.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
Welcome back from the break, Rams. We are thrilled to introduce a brand new segment. That new segment being Colorado Athlete of the Week. It's fairly self-explanatory. We all pick an athlete to highlight who we believe is worthy of the award based on the previous week. All right, makes sense? All right, I'll kick us off. My athlete of the week is Kyle Jorgensen.
Ooh, okay.
So Kyle, he averaged in these 2 games versus Air Force and Utah State 16.5 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 2.5 steals, and the main point that I'm trying to get at, in the first half of the Utah State game, 24 points, 8 for 8 shooting, 5 for 5 from 3. I mean, the dude was just genuinely had takeover, could not miss.
I mean, if he'd have kept up that production in the second half,
And that's another story.
That game would have been won no matter what. But I mean, heck, Kyle Jorgensen is one of those players who you look at him and you see this guy is going to be the future of this program. Given that, you know, he doesn't transfer, which, you know, let's hope not.
Fingers crossed.
But assuming that he doesn't, this is the kind of guy that stays on for the next 2-3 years and is able to continue building this Rams legacy and hopefully getting us back to the NCAA tournament.
Exactly, and I want to throw in the Rams basketball team has kind of been looking for that top dog. Kyle Jorgensen, perfect fit for that. So if we can keep this up, CSU is in a good position for the future.
Yeah, and speaking of dogs, right down in Denver, we got one playing for the Denver Nuggets, one Jamal Murray moving down south here. And here's the thing, Jamal Murray has done a spectacular job for the Nuggets while Jokic has been out. Over last week in 3 games, averaged 22.6 points, over 2 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal. Unfortunately, that 1-2 record doesn't reflect the impact that he has had on this team. And, I mean, you're looking at these games against the Hornets, the Lakers, and the Wizards. And granted, that Hornets game was a blowout, but the game against the Lakers wouldn't have been nearly as close as it was without him on the court. And the game against the Wizards, you know, that one was much closer than it should have been. But it's the experience that Jamal Murray brings and the tact that he brings to the game in limiting turnovers and getting those good passes, getting the right pass that have helped Denver carry through without Jokic.
Exactly, and like you said, with Jokic being out, this Nuggets squad, completely different team. When Jokic is on the court, everyone knows ball runs through him, offense runs through him. So without him on the court, we get to see Jamal Murray shine a little bit more, and it just reminds you how much of a dog he is because you don't see him take that true #1 role all the time, so it's nice to see.
Now, I got to ask you, Lucas.
Okay.
Do you think Jamal Murray is an all-star guy this season?
I mean, I'm going to be a little biased. I'm going to say yes. He's been going off. I know he's been dealing with some injury too, so that weighs into it. But if I had to vote, I'm sending my boy to the All-Star game. That's just me.
Yeah, and I mean, you're taking this past month into consideration largely without Aaron Gordon, largely without Cam Johnson, Jokic, Valanciunas. These are all major rotation players, and he's kept the Nuggets afloat in that playoff race. And I think when everyone's healthy, championship contender.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, unfortunately, that is the end of our time for tonight. Tune in tomorrow at 7 for the K-pop edition of Ramboozled, and come back next week for more CTV Sports.